Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Mina. Welcome to my channel, Mina Reads, and today I'm doing another personalized book recommendations video. So in this video, I will be responding to some prompts that I got from you guys on Twitter and Instagram, which is a perfect time for me to plug my Twitter and Instagram. Follow me on there if you ever want to be in one of these videos, and maybe I'll be able to recommend you something. So yeah, I asked my followers on Twitter and Instagram some tropes or vibes or plot setups that they've been looking for that they would want some recommendations for. So let's just get into the recommending, and make sure that you follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Okay, so this first one, Buy Leads, Fake Dating, Marriage of Convenience. I'm just going to recommend my favorite book ever, which is Zany by Rebecca Weatherspoon. This has fake dating, marriage of convenience trope for these two people to get their inheritance. Zany and her love interest Mason are both bisexual, and it's really, really good. It's amazing. I love it so much. And speaking of Zany, someone asked me for a recommendation for a book with pegging in it because they really loved Zany, and Zany does have pegging in it. So another recommendation that I would go for is American Sweethearts by Adriana Herrera. This is a second chance romance about these two old friends slash lovers, and they've kind of had this on again off again relationship for years, and this is them like kind of having their last attempt at making their relationship work, and there is pegging in it. This book is very hot and I really liked it, and I thought that the characters were really great, so I would definitely recommend this book if you have not read it already. Okay, so then someone else says, it's from Alistair, and it says, long shot, but give us a high progression fantasy with a gay main character who doesn't reflect common entertainment stereotypes. Okay, so I don't want to call this a recommendation because I haven't personally read this book yet, but I am really excited to read it, and it is The Last Son by K.D. Edwards, and the protagonist is a gay man, and I know that there is a like romantic subplot between him and another dude, and it has come highly recommended to me, but I haven't read it yet. I do know that it's like urban fantasy, and I know that the series is going to be like 1,000,000 books long. I think 2 books are out so far in the series, so I would definitely say maybe check that one out. So then I got one that says sapphic adult fantasy, and I would recommend Bloody Rose by Nicholas Ames. This is the second book in a series, but it's kind of like a companion book, so maybe you should read the first book, which is Kings of the Wild, but you might not need to. And this second book, we follow a character named Tam, and she is a bard, she's a lesbian, and she joins this like mercenary band on their adventures. Tam is a baby lesbian icon. We really love her, we stan, and she does have a romantic subplot with another character, and I liked it. So this next one, anything that has some sort of toxic or destructive friendship between girls, young women, something like Jennifer's Body, Heather's 13. I would recommend Black Iris by Elliott Wake. I haven't read this book for like years, but it does deal with like some very toxic, problematic characters and some wild relationship dynamics, and it is like, you know, a wild friendship. There's a little bit of a lover's element there as well, but it's this really wild relationship, very destructive and problematic, and I think that you will enjoy the vibes. Okay, so Syl asks for popular girl, nerdy boy trope. I would say read Worship by Jack Harbon. It is about these two people. They used to be friends in high school. They used to be like lab partners, and he was a nerdy boy, she was a popular girl, and they never went out, but they both kind of had like a mutual crush on each other, and they meet up again at a high school reunion, and yeah, they make it work from there. Soft boy meets pessimistic girl. I would definitely say take a hint, Danny Brown. Danny is very pessimistic and very jaded and cynical, and I would say that Zaf, he is very soft and hopeful and romantic and adorable, so I would definitely say that they fit that trope, and I would highly recommend you guys reading it. It's just so good. Chef's kiss perfection. Please read Talia Hibbers' romances. She's just an icon and a legend. But then I got 2 requests for a queer found family, and I recommended this in my last video, but I would highly recommend The Weight of the Stars by Kate Ancrum. That does have a queer found family. Then there's also Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers, which definitely has a found family vibe, and it's really wonderful, and I love them both a lot. So I definitely recommend both of those if you're looking for like a contemporary found family vibe. So I got another request that says recommend your favorite low fantasy, and for this I'm going to recommend a fantasy romance, which is Radiance by Grace Draven. This book, I absolutely loved it. In Radiance, we're following these people from these 2 different like kingdoms, and they have to have a political marriage, and we're following them as they like get more comfortable with each other and with their marriage. But there's also like some magical stuff brewing in their kingdom. I would say that this is relatively low fantasy. It's not hard to understand. The world building is really simple and kind of basic. So I think that it really focuses in, especially in the first book, more on the relationship dynamics between our two characters than it does on like world building or anything like that. So if world building is too much for you, I would definitely recommend this one because it does have that fantasy vibe, but without too much confusion or in-depth like world building and exposition and stuff like that. So Radiance by Grace Draven, probably be a good one. Women warriors kicking ass and taking names with a bit of romance on the side. Okay, so I'm going to recommend you Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. This follows a girl named Maggie. She is like a monster hunter and she is definitely a badass. We love her and we stan. And there is a little side romantic subplot there. Polyamory and fantasy. The 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I don't want to overstate the polyamory in it because there is a polyamorous relationship, but it doesn't take up a large amount of page time, but it is there and it is present. So maybe that one. This one just says angst. If you want angst, I would recommend reading Rend by Rowan Parrish. This is a very angsty romance about these two characters, Matt and Reese. They're already married, but they're having some like marriage problems, and it's really angsty. It's very steamy, and I absolutely love that book. I love Matt and Reese so much, but like the angst is just, it's just a sweet torture. I really loved it, and I would highly recommend it. Paranormal Romance, I would say Mating the Huntress by Talia Hibbert. It's iconic. It's about this werewolf who finds out that like his soulmate is this girl that comes from a family of werewolf hunters, and it's so funny and it's so cute, and I really liked it a lot. I love the soulmate trope. I love shifters, particularly werewolves. So like it was really fun. I liked it a lot. Poly relationship romance. Poly relationship romance. Poly relationship romance. Poly relationship romance. I would recommend the Thelonian Dynasty series by Katie Robert. It's about this girl who starts dating this prince and his bodyguard. Very iconic setup. And there's like 3 books in this series, so yeah, I would recommend that one. I have a whole shelf on Goodreads full of polyamorous romances, so let me pull it up and we will list some off for you, my love. So Harbor by Rebecca Weatherspoon is about these people. They go through like this traumatic event together and they're kind of trauma bonding a little bit, and it's about them and like having a support system while they get over this really traumatic and fucked up thing that has happened to them. And it's also kind of kinky. Love this. I love Brooklyn, Shaw, and Vaughn so much. I recommend Neighborly by Katrina Jackson. This is more of an erotica than it is a romance, but it's very fire. Would definitely recommend it. And also Heart in Hand by Rebel Carter. This is a historical polyamorous romance. It's set in like the Wild West, and I really like this one a lot. It's really adorable and I enjoyed it. Someone says Event Planner as the main character. For this one, I'm going to recommend Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. Okay, so then we got a few requests for Friends to Lovers romance. Can you hear my sister being loud in the background? If you can, pretend that you don't. So just to list a few, I would say Go Deep by Rousey Adams. Also Determining Possession by Christina C. Jones is like my all-time favorite Friends to Lovers romance. It's like, ugh, it's so good. I love it so much. Complicated Enemies to Friends arc. I would say read the Devabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. It has a very interesting enemies to friends dynamic between our two protagonists, and I would definitely recommend it if that's something that you're interested in. Somebody asked for a book with weird vibes. Maybe I would say like Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. The story definitely has very weird vibes. It's like a thriller horror novel, and the vibes in it are definitely very strange. So maybe if you are into horror, that would work. Character focused sci-fi fantasy, I would definitely say read the First Law trilogy by Jill Abercrombie. It is a very heavily character focused grimdark fantasy trilogy, and yeah, the characters in this book are phenomenal. Their characterization really compelling. I would definitely recommend it. If characters are your thing when it comes to fantasy, Jill Abercrombie puts a lot into the characters, a little bit less into the plot. The plot is really slow moving, but the characters themselves are phenomenal. Okay, next one is would love to see more books where sexuality and gender is fluid. So for this one, I'm going to recommend The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. This is a sci-fi space opera, and one of the characters is gender fluid. So maybe that could work. But I feel like the person who's asking me for this prompt, I'm pretty sure they've already read The First Sister. So I'm sorry about it, friend. Okay, hard sci-fi with great characters and character development. The Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. It's a hard sci-fi space opera series. The characters are really interesting in my opinion, and I think that the sci-fi aspect, like the science-y element of the story, is really good and really interesting, and it's based in like actual science, so I do enjoy it a lot, and I would definitely say that it's good. It has like a nice big cast of characters, and each book the POVs kind of shift a little bit, so there's lots of new characters to meet and interact with, and I would highly recommend it. So this next one is Quirky Murder Mysteries, and I would recommend maybe the Criminal Intentions series by Cole McCade. This is like a police procedural series about these two detectives, Malcolm Kalaji and Sung Jae Yoon, and they are like detective partners and they're solving crimes in every book, and it's like a really long series where each installment is them solving a different crime, so that's why it's kind of like a police procedural, and it's like a slow burn romance between Sung Jae and Malcolm. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's quirky, but they're definitely murder mysteries, so maybe that one. Honestly, I think that's all the recs that I have for today, so I'm just gonna wrap it up. Thank you to everyone who submitted a prompt thingy. I hope I was able to help some of you guys out and find some books that might pique your interest, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow me on Instagram or on Twitter, because I'll probably do another one of these in the future, so make sure you follow me so that you'll be there if I send out a request. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, and a special thank you to all of my wonderful patrons.